Hi, in this video I will talk about the story of the Abraham specifically and as mentioned in the Arranger Surah, a Saffat Surah. So among his followers was Abraham. He came to his Lord wholeheartedly. He said to his father and his people, "What are you worshipping? Is it these fabricated gods instead of God that you want? What do you think of the Lord of the universe?" He looked carefully at the stars, then he gave up and said, "I'm tired of this." They turned away from him. He then turned on their idols, saying, "Would you like to eat? Why do you not speak?" He then destroyed them. They went to him in a great rage. He said, "How can you worship what you carve, when God has created you and everything you make?" They said, "Let us build a great fire and throw him into it." They schemed against him, but we made them the losers. He said, "I'm going to my Lord, he will guide me. My Lord, grant me righteous children." We gave him good news of a good child. So here, this is the story of the Abraham. So this is important that they aware that their God cannot do anything, cannot speak, and believing in such God is like believing a boss that doesn't order anything. So believing in such boss uh, is not productive, because if you believe in such boss, the boss has no impact on their life, so they know it. So that's why they want to believe uh, such so-called gods only for psychological pleasure, and they don't want to change themselves, change their life, and they don't want to believe in the right God, and they believe in this. So we see that they schemed against him, but we made them the losers. I think scheme is special to humans. So scheme is, I think that what we call a scheme is considered in the Quran so many times, and it is like using planning to commit a crime. I think that is how we should define the scheme. That's my opinion, by the way. So because the scene is different than like, for example, let's assume that Satan whispers you something and it's generally impulsive. It's not only a plan, but what scheme is like something special to humans, because humans can make a planning, like just so. And in crime, in criminal law, they include scheme. So for example, if you mad at someone and just suddenly you cannot control yourself and you attack that person, it's not, there's no scheme here. There's only like, there's a scheme here, but it's not like it doesn't have much effect. But here in this verse we see that it has much effective, and there's a cognitive uh, there's a planning process. So for example, Abraham will come here, he will be there, and then we will catch Abraham. We will do this, like we will ask, we will believe in God or not. So it's like a planning, like a God, and so making a careful plan about what to do to Abraham. So anyway, let's skip this. When he grew enough to work with him, he said, "My son, I see in a dream that I'm sacrificing you. What do you think?" He said, "Oh, my father, do what you are commanded to do. You will find me, God willing, patient." They both submitted, and he put his forehead down. We called him, "O Abraham, you have believed the dream. We thus reward the righteous." That was an exacting test, indeed. We ransomed Ismail by substituting an animal sacrifice. So this Ismail, the word Ismail was not mentioned because it doesn't matter in this context. And we preserved his history for subsequent generations. Peace be upon Abraham. We thus reward the righteous. He is one of our believing servants. So this was the test of the Abraham. So so this is Abraham's test, and then he is sacrificing his son. And previously I have mentioned it. So then we gave him the good news about the birth of Isaac to be one of the righteous prophets. We blessed him and Isaac and among their as descendants. Some are the righteous and some are the wicked transgressors. We also blessed Moses and Aaron. We delivered them and their people from the great disaster. We supported them until they became the winners. We gave both of them the profound scripture. We guided them in the right path. We preserved their history for subsequent generations. Peace be upon Moses and Aaron. We thus reward the righteous. Both of them were among our uh, um, righteous servants. So we thus reward the righteous. It was repeated sort of. Um, so this is also repeated here. Elias was one of the messengers. He said to his people, "Will you not work for righteousness? Do you worship a statue instead of the supreme creator?" So it is similarly in this surah we see that um they are questioning their beliefs. Do you worship a statue instead of the supreme creator? God, your Lord, and the Lord of your forefathers. They disbelieved him. Consequently, they had to be called to account. Only God's servants who are absolutely devoted to him alone. We preserved his history for subsequent generations. Peace be upon Elias and all those like Elias. We thus reward the righteous. He was one of our believing servants. And so, Lot was one of the messengers. We saved him and all his family. Only the old woman was doomed. So from his family, I guess. We annihilated all the others. You still pass by their ruins by day and by night. Will you understand? So here is another interesting thing is his wife was doomed, and so it's like something like that. It shows that believing is not something like genetic, and that's interesting. That in this Lot asked his community to not to do homosexual, not to be homosexual. So here, that's why I think that's interesting that his wife couldn't survive. Um, Jonah was one of the messengers. He escaped to the loaded ship. He rebelled and thus he joined the losers. Consequently, the fish swallowed him, and he was the one to blame. So um, he escaped. It says that it explains what he escaped from. He would have stayed in its belly until the day of resurrection. We had him thrown up into the desert, exhausted. We had a tree of edible fruit grown for him. Then we sent him 100,000 or more. So this is explanation. Um, they did believe and let them enjoy this life. Ask them if your Lord has daughters, while they have sons. Did we create the angels uh, to be females? Did they witness that? Indeed, they grossly blaspheme, and they say, God has begotten a son. Indeed, they are liars. Did he choose the girls over the boys? What is wrong with your logic? So it mentions the uh, some people's beliefs. So so that here, as I said before, so Jonah did something bad, but he would always mention his God and remember God, so God forgave him. What is wrong with your logic? Why do you not take heed? Do you have any proof? Show us your book if you are truthful. They even invented a special relationship between him and the jinns. The jinns themselves know that they are subservient. God be glorified far above their claims. Only God's servants who are devoted to Him alone. Indeed, you and what you worship cannot impose anything on Him. Only you will burn in hell. Each one of us has a specific job. We are the rangers. We have duly glorified. So here we see that God mentioned all sorts of potential relationships. So it is so that some people are creating some. So they still do this. That they mention like aliens. They claim that aliens are actually God or aliens are so that about the. So this is something that people just come up in 2024 3 and so we still know those people. So those verses still valid, and people keep having special relationship between jinns or other creatures or God or believing in God. So anyway, that's all I want to say in this video. Thanks for watching this video and hope to see you in the next video.